Around here, prime time is 9 p.m. And that can only mean one thing. Your boys reporting eligible is live on tab. Thank you so very much for joining us. Man, Falcon fans, OTAs are underway. A lot of juicy stuff coming out of Falcons OTAs. Bro talk before I get to you and how you're doing on your busy day. I just would like to give a quick shout out, man. Proud papa moment right here. Mom and dad, Ilani, if you're watching the show, which I know she's an avid watcher, man, we're proud of you. What a phenomenal game my daughter put up today, man. Softball, pitched a scoreless 5, 6, and 7th inning, had a home run, 4 ribbies. So shout out to you, Ilani. Daddy loves you, mommy loves you, man. We're so proud of all of your efforts thus far this year, man. And I know more great things are going to come from you. So thank you for your excellent efforts on and off the field. But bro talk, how are you, my friend? How's your day going, man?
I'm tired, man. Like I'm legit tired, running on fumes. It's cloudy, it's overcast over here. It's been raining a lot, but overall excited to talk about it. Get to see the new players in Falcon uniforms, the new red jerseys and white jerseys in action at camp. So it's a good time. It's not the dead zone yet. We've got stuff to talk about.
We have some time before that dry spell. That's the hardest part for any content creators. Ask any of them. They'll tell you the same thing, man. Once late May hits, early June, brother, it's like watching paint dry. There's nothing going on really until, mandatory mini camps kick off. And then obviously we're all waiting for July and training camp. But to round out, man, let's get into it. OTA start and things are looking good down in Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr. back on the field and doing stuff from under center. Who are we? Middle of the field targets. What is this? And just overall looking like a new version, a new Michael Penix, man. It's awesome to see. Obviously, we all know, Michael Penix Jr. did tear his ACL in November, but he revealed some things that might have shocked some people. He's been throwing since March, so that puts him only 5 months out. And this young man has been able to, tote the rock and sling it around a little bit, get acquainted with his playmakers, and the new acquisitions for the Atlanta Falcons, man. But your thoughts right quick on MPJ, man, and we'll get to the discourse that Twitter allows. but Michael Penix Jr. back on the field, man.
To hear him say he's been throwing since March. That's great news. Now, granted, he could throw without his lower body, so just to keep his arm and shoulder warm and active. I was surprised, but then I started thinking about it. It's like, okay, it shouldn't be that surprising. But to see him move, right? Joe Patrick put out a video of him doing a high step drill where, they're emphasizing getting their feet away from the center. Hey, man, any athlete, even if it's in slow motion, not at full speed, that's still tough, especially with the knee that was reconstructed recently. But to see him take snaps from under center, run the play action, hit the top of his drop, plant, drive, it's exciting to see, right? It just means he's progressing in the right way, in the right direction. Obviously, Coach Stefanski talked about it, said he's not quite there, right? He's going to continue to do individual stuff, 7-on-7. But when it comes to the full 11, he's not there just yet. He praised him for attacking his rehab and just being a student of the new regime and the new system, being a vocal leader and all that good stuff. And then Michael said the same thing. His goal is to be ready for week 1. Whatever, happens, he's running his own race and making sure that his body and himself is ready if he is the one called upon to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. So all positive things, right?
Absolutely.
The wind was knocked out of our sails with him last year. I was in the building. Quite literally, the Benz was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop when it happened. But from going from there to here in such a short span, it's good news to me.
Yeah, no, overall, just watching him just throw the ball around, getting acquainted with Drake London, Jahad Dotson, Zachariah Branch, who's turning heads, right? At training camp, there's an absolute speed factor added to this offense, speed that we've lacked, right? We don't solely have to rely on Bijan and his speed and his skill set. No longer. We acquired that with Zachariah Branch. Looks so great, in his cuts, his in and out cuts, his overall speed. So it's just a breath of fresh air for this offense that, should pick up where it left off, a beat, I think, a little bit better than we were last year. I know we've talked so much about how coaching does matter in the NFL, and we have some good ones in place, one of which we will touch on in a little bit or in a moment here. But overall, just great signs of the boys getting back on the field, just getting acquainted. You heard Chris Lindstrom, just stoked on Michael Penix Jr.'s behalf of watching him back on the field. He's psyched for him. As we all know, Chris Lindstrom, all pro guard, going into his 8th year as in Atlanta Falcons, man, which is absolutely crazy that time flies that fast. Was just drafted in 2019, but here we are in 2026, and he's still producing at an all-pro level guard. So it's overall great vibes right now in Atlanta, man. Stefanski, very spirited in his press conference. It's a great sign. We're getting more emotion than when we did with former coach Raheem Morris. Sure, Kevin does keep some certain things by the hip. Obviously, he can't let a lot of details out, but overall, I'm happy where we're going right now. At the Falcons were very active this offseason, acquiring, the talent needed for Stefanski's scheme of things. And when we talk about there's a guy that might fly under the radar in some ways. I know that we addressed it back when he was hired in February, but our pass game coordinator, Tanner Ekstrand, didn't really get the notoriety that he deserved, right? He kind of flamed out as Jets offensive coordinator. I don't think he was here. Scapegoat fire, right? Absolutely. Call me stupid if you want, right? But I put Tanner's situation with Steve Sarkisian's situation when he was hired for Atlanta in 2017 after Shanny left. I think Sarkisian should have been given maybe just another year to get his feet wet, play calling again. Same for Tanner. He didn't get the right opportunity or get the opportunity he needed, but fool's gold, right? And we're the ones that are, factoring in from that. Tanner is reminded us what an explosive offensive should look like from his work with the Detroit Lions. You put out an excellent tweet. I piggyback off of that tweet, but our players, our skill players, are the ones that are going to benefit the most. So I'll let you give your thoughts, and I'm going to show some plays from that 2023-2024 Lions team that really should get us Falcons fans raving, because it's Tanner's work at its best. But go talk.
I think the biggest difference that we'll see is, going from Zach Robinson, and TJ Yates being the pass game coordinator, was they gave the receivers too many options, right? All these option routes based off the leverage and what coverage they were seeing. And it relied a lot on the quarterback and the receiver to be on the same page. You had 2 first-year Atlanta Falcon quarterbacks, right? Kirk Cousins the first year, learning everyone, right? Didn't get full repetition, didn't get preseason. Then Michael Penix Jr. So it's hard when you don't have the chemistry, right? Maybe a Matt Ryan and a Julio, you got option routes. You're seeing the same thing because they have time together. That's different. But I think with Tanner, you're going to see more designs where the quarterback is going to know where everyone is, right? And actually create space for people where the read is going to be a lot simpler. You saw Jared Goff, right? He exploded when Tanner was there as the pass game coordinator. Obviously, Ben Johnson was the one calling the plays, but the designs were Tanner's that Ben Johnson implemented. So you saw the dip the first year he was gone. Same thing with Ben Johnson. Both of those meant a lot to the Detroit Lions. And I think Tanner meant a lot more than people gave him credit for. And like I mentioned, he was just a scapegoat for the New York Jets. They didn't have the personnel to really do what he wanted to do. And for the Atlanta Falcons, we do. We've got a better version of Jahmyr Gibbs. We've got now our version, if you want to say, of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Zachariah Branch, who a faster version of it. And then you've got Drake London, who's kind of this wild card, right? Can play him outside, can play him inside. I think Tanner's going to have a lot of fun, and Kyle Pitts, in creating designs to create problems and find that weak point of the defense to whether it's Tua or Michael. It'll be easy pickings for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not George Pickens. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, maybe we could get Kyle Pitts and some Sam Laporta numbers from those times. But it's still young. We can speculate. We can fantasize all we want. You know what I mean? But it's still, these things have to be implemented in the execution. It has to happen. But I'm going to bring up some plays here. Share my screen right quick. And this one here, this first particular play, you notice that we're in the red zone, right? The Lions are in the red zone. They're running a little bit of 11 personnel, and this is where Ekstrom can really work his magic with our Falcons. We see the execution here.
Oh my
That's
God.
Amon-Ra St. Brown
You
in
see the
space.
Did you see the Red Sea part?
Yes.
Like he was in the middle of the field with no one within 5 to 7 yards. Like,
Yeah.
look at that, dude. And all he
Here
had
he
to
is
do
in the slot. Bang.
What? I wonder what the read was there for the defense that just caused anyone to not pick him up. That's crazy.
It is crazy to say the least. And here's the speed factor. Williamson, as we all know, high draft pick for the Detroit Lions in 2022, bringing that speed element to this offense. We spoke about Zachariah Branch and his pure speed. This is something that gets me going here because these explosive plays, we've lacked in Atlanta in a little bit. But now with Tanner here drawing up these plays, these things can become a reality more so than not. So this is what gets me going. Look at that, man. Just straight up beating his man one-on-one, man. It's good stuff here, man, by Tanner.
I think Zachariah, everyone's like, oh, he's a gadget guy. He's just bubble screens, short, quick game. He's more vertical threat than people are going to give him credit for until he starts doing it. And then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, he's the second coming of Tyreek Hill. We're not going to say that as Falcon fans, but
no, we're not.
Not yet, right? If he balls out, like Matt Ryan said in the video, if you haven't seen it, check it out on the Rise 45-minute video when Matt Ryan talks at Falcons University. He talks about how about 8 to 10 of them are going to make an immediate impact. And Zachariah Branch is going to be one of those guys that makes an immediate impact.
Man, I love it. Speed factor from Zachariah. Jahan Dotson, too. He's no slouch. He does have sub 4.4 speed as well. So, we haven't heard a lot out of OTAs about Jahan, but, it's exciting nonetheless, right? Because speed is a real thing for the Falcons. We have a question here in the chat right quick by our guy, Bones. Says, how many games have we won that you guys attended last year? No shade, just trying to see what edge we can get.
Go ahead, Berto. You went to more games than me.
0-2.
So I went to the game against Carolina in the Benz. That's when Michael got hurt, and we lost in overtime. We were up 21-7, and it was crazy to see. Now overall, I'm 1-1 in Falcon games. I went to the one in 2015 in Dallas, and I watched the Falcons, Matty Ice, come back down to the Dallas Cowboys and win that game. So that was when Devontae Freeman kind of made his name for himself. Three rushing touchdowns.
Three rushing touchdowns that game.
So I'm 1-1 overall, but last year 0-1.
Yeah, overall I think I'm 5-2. So this past year, brother, the game from hell. I've been called many things on Twitter. The game against the Pats, Romo. Oh my God!
You jinxed him, bro. Jinxed him.
I really did, man.
Look, on record, Berto calls me from his seat.
Yes, I did.
Berto calls me from his seat, and he's like, "Hey, I don't know, man. Romo's having an off day." I'm like, bro, it's warm up. Like, let him get the bad ones out. We'll be all right. Man. And then sure enough, he pushes the game time
right to the right. And it's exactly everything that he was pushing was to the right. And then we lost in the Jets game. That one, I was there for that one also, man. So sorry, Bones, man. If we're not, we can't be good luck charms this year.
Yeah, don't worry. I won't be there next year. I won't be there. Man. I'll be on my couch.
I don't know, man. I'm hyped, man. I might make it to that week 1 matchup versus the Steelers, and I'm thinking about that week 15 matchup against the Commanders.
You know what you should do if you go to the Steelers? You got to get a Falcons red towel, so that way when they're not swinging theirs, you can swing yours.
Yeah, I got plenty. I got plenty towels, so yeah, I'll definitely have to bring one of those with me, man. In good faith, man. So real quick. Yeah, anything you want to add on as far as, the discourse that Twitter had to offer this past week with the whole Tua and MPJ? Man. MPJ's mechanics did look different.
It did. To me, it looked different because the hip and the arm and the shoulder were all connected.
All connected. Yes.
And
absolutely.
To me, it looked like instead of him slinging sidearm a little bit, it was more over. But he says he didn't change anything, which I can believe because he hasn't been able to do much recovering. But then how much is Matt talking to him, Alex Van Pelt talking to him, Tommy Rees talking to him, Kevin Stefanski to do these little things, right? I think I read a quote where it's like the mechanics are the mechanics, right? They're the ones going to have to do it with their own personal quarterback coach, but they can give them like little tidbits to make adjustments. I don't know, man. He looked accurate. Now, granted, he didn't have a pass rush coming at him, right? The pass rush is kind of where we saw that little skip hop and kind of just all arm it. And then the accuracy issues came there. But, I mean, against air, he looked accurate. It was, within the receiving range of all the guys he was throwing to. So we'll see, man. As far as the discourse, I feel like we're actually divided once again.
Yeah.
Right.
Common theme.
It's a common theme, right? It started all the way back with Desmond Ridder, whether you thought he was good, whether you thought he was bad, right? And then it goes to Kirk Cousins, and then we drafted Michael Penix Jr. Starting Kirk, starting Michael. Then the following year, same thing. Oh, Michael's not doing well. Kirk should have been the starter. Should have never been benched. We cut Kirk. Okay, Michael. And then we signed Tua, and now people are like, oh, look, Tua this, Tua that. Look, we've said it. We've been on record, right? We want whoever the starter is to do well. We're not going to wish ill because ultimately we just want the team to win.
Absolutely.
Right? You mentioned Chris Lindstrom, 8th year in the league, 0 playoff appearances. Like, come on. He doesn't care either. He just wants to block for a guy that's going to help him win. So the discourse is funny to watch, right? For those of you that saw the whole Tua Muse thing go down, 15-year-old kid, mom and dad got a hold of the phone. that was by far the funniest thing I've seen in a while, getting checked by your parents and them taking your phone away and your tablet and then typing out your name as the activated account. And then in your description, it says devices removed.
Oh my God. Oh my God, man. Yeah, I saw all of that. I didn't chime in or anything like that. Obviously, I don't care too much for what people have to say as far as when it comes to the team, man, because everybody has an opinion. I don't like to go down that route, but I'm with you, man. I just want the best player that wins the position because it sounds like it's going to be a competition between both quarterbacks. It's whoever comes out solid. That's who I'm rooting for, man.
And Coach Stefanski has said it, right? They're being very intentional.
Yes.
Who is like the repetitions, the splits. Tua's going to get
splits.
Well, he's going to get a jump because he's doing the full 11 team activities now. By training camp, could Michael get in there and compete and beat out Tua? Absolutely. But from the stuff I read from Daniel Flick, right? Our new AJC writer for Atlanta,
big things,
taking over for D-Led. He said that Tua looked sharp. Like they both threw picks, but Tua looked great. And that may make some people upset, but are you rooting for the player or are you rooting for the team? Right?
Right. Exactly.
Is it the name on the back of the jersey or is it the emblem? Right? Because I can guarantee you right now, if Bijan Robinson was on the Lions and Jahmyr Gibbs was on the Falcons, you would be pounding the table that Gibbs was better than Robinson. That's just how we are, right? As fans, it doesn't matter. That's why Lions fans say Gibbs is better than Robinson. That's what we do as fans. So ultimately, just win. Just win.
Just win, baby. Just win, man. I love it, man. Definitely, man. We're a fan base that definitely needs more W's on this side, man. We haven't experienced one. Yeah, Knuckles, this kid, I swear, man.
I think he's the same height as what's his name? The kid that came out of North Carolina, Willie Lampkin.
Oh, Willie Lampkin. Loved Willie Lampkin, man, North Carolina, man.
Hey, you never know. Your dad could be like the Incredible movie and go for a tryout and then be the starting center for the Falcons.
At 40, I'm back to bench pressing. I'm at 175 right now. So, I'm feeling pretty good right now. So, hey, never know.
Never mind, guys. All right, moving on.
Oh, man. You love it, man. That's awesome, man. All right. So, we talked about many things thus far, right? So one thing we have to kind of put emphasis on, and it's a known unknown trend right now, but Ontario Thompson, I do know about it. Ontario Thompson Avion Terrell, our last 2 draftees that weren't signed, obviously now signed with the Atlanta Falcons. But it's the Avion Terrell contract that is fully guaranteed. And this is for a second round pick. Now, this is a trend that started last year by the Houston Texans when they drafted Jaden Higgins in the second round and gave him a fully guaranteed contract. Now, Bro Talk, is this where the NFL now is trending? Is this where we're going now with these second round picks, that they're going to be treated like first round picks? And what do you know? In 5-6 years, could we see an entire draft class, follow suit, wanting guaranteed deals due to their positioning and where they fall? Because, like, not to cut you off or nothing like that, we get it, right? Avion Terrell, we benefited from him falling, right? This was a consensus first round pick, right? Things didn't work out in his favor. Scouts weren't able to, put a tone on certain drills because he was injured. So that led him to fall a little bit. But the tape shows for itself. This was a top 3 corner in this draft class, maybe top 1. Who knows, right? To whomever is scouting and breaking it down. But should that really be what you ride with in terms of your contract and having it fully guaranteed? Because that's kind of wild for a second round pick to have that.
It is wild, right? When we saw the Jaden Higgins one go down, it's like, what did the Houston Texans do? But you have to go way back. I say way back. It's not that way back, but you got to go back to a former Falcons quarterback who was then signing with the Minnesota Vikings to land the first ever NFL contract that was fully guaranteed. And it was like jaw-dropping, right? Because what do you mean fully guaranteed? What happens if he's not good? Like, if he doesn't pan out? Like, you are now tied to all that money. And I think we are heading to that trend. Now, for the Falcons, I think it was a little bit easier for them because, one, Avion Terrell is still getting only paid second round money, right? As the rounds go, as the picks go, the money overall starts going down, right? So they're not paying like a top 10 pick fully guaranteed money like the Arizona Cardinals are for Jeremiah Love, who got $54 million as a running back fully guaranteed, right? So I think it's a little bit easier for teams to swallow that second round money and say, yeah, we're going to fully guarantee this, because ultimately, if you look at their contract compared to the first round contract, they're still making less, right? And they weren't drafted in the first round for a reason, blah, 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 blah. So I don't see this going away. If anything, we'll see more and more teams pick up. Eventually, all second rounders are going to get fully guaranteed money, and then it's going to make its way into the third round, and then the fourth round, and then fifth round. And by then, we'll probably be 100+ years old. Falcons will have 5 Super Bowls by that time.
Yeah.
And seventh rounders are going to be getting fully guaranteed money, which is like next to nothing, right? But you're not worried about it because it's a 7th round pick that you're paying, $1 million to $2 million, and they may be the next Jordan Mailata, right? That's what we're hoping with, what's his name? Ethan, that we drafted.
Ethan, yeah.
Listening to him talk to Coach Callahan got me a little hyped up. I'm like, okay, maybe there is something there.
Maybe there is something
Callahan going there. Anyways, I digress. This trend that you caught on and you spotted, I think it's not going away, and it's going to continue to pick up. And then Avion Terrell the following year after Jaden Higgins. And I think there was another second round pick last year that also got fully guaranteed money. I can't remember who it was. I think there was more than one that got fully guaranteed money. And it's just going to continue to grow from there. I mean, the cap space keeps going up, right? So why are teams like shying away from getting this player like, hey, we believe in you, get the belief in them. We're going to pay you all this money. Now go put it out on the football field.
Yeah. It's just scary. It's just scary for me because, we've seen second round picks that have only panned out for 2 or 3 years with the team. Now you trade them away, that now you're taking on dead money, which of course the dead money's not, it's not significant, right? It's not a lot by a team standard, it's not a lot, but to you and me, the average Joe's dude, that's a shit ton of money. But needless to say, right? You start now putting more emphasis on dead cap and what teams are handicapped to the following year, because obviously dead cap does factor in when your cap money is set for the following year. That's my worry where this trend could be happening
at that point, right? Because if you look at it, hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull his contract up.
What up, Big Low Country in the house? As you all know, Big Low Country, a pillar in this Falcons content community. Please go check out Big Low Country at At Big Low Country on YouTube, man. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you tuning in, man.
Where is it? I don't see his contract. Hello? Am I not seeing it? Hold on. Over the cap. Here we go. Avion Terrell's contract. Okay. So if you look into the contract, the way they structured it, they backloaded it. So yeah, your cap number is $3.2 million. That's like a vet minimum deal. That's nothing to teams.
True.
If the cap space continues to grow. So I think yes, you have some merit. I think I'd be more concerned about first rounders, top 5 picks getting fully guaranteed money, because how many top 5 picks have we seen bust before?
Yeah.
Plenty, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of top 5 picks have busted. And then, you find these gems that are picked in the later half of the first round or the second round, like we did. So again, is it going to continue to happen and more players are going to get this fully guaranteed money? Yes. Is it something that is concerning? Personally, I don't think so.
Oh, hey, listen, man. Your word is gold, man. So I'll definitely tune in for that one, man. We got a quick question here, man, which actually, would spring us. We're only 26 minutes in. We've been through our topics. We got to get this shit going, man. But we got to pay attention here to the chat. Linebacker room is going to be one of my faves to watch this offseason. Question: do y'all think Perkins Jr., Harris, or Daniels will win out? My fave is Perkins Jr., but it's Christian Harris to lose, to be honest. Love your opinion. And actually, since you mentioned Daniels, credit Daniel Flick, he put out a picture and some info on Kendall Perkins, who was seen walking around in a walking boot, right? We don't know to what extent the injury is, but concerning to say the least that he's walking around in something like that. Again, we don't know what the extent of the injury is. Is this going to lead? Is this going to progress into training camp? We don't know. But Daniels, for me, was my favorite, going into this linebacking battle, right? Obviously, you left out Troy Anderson. We don't know what he has left in the tank. This might be a guy that, could surprise the NFL world and just retire because his body's not responding to how it is. He's been out of the league essentially, 2 years already, due to injuries. Is his body going to withstand another grueling training camp? And if it doesn't, will he call it quits? That's another underlying question to keep an eye out for. But the great names here, Perkins, we all know. I think that's a steal where we got him in the 6th round, man. Kid coming out of LSU, sub 4.3 speed. There's a lot that you can do with a gadget like that. And Christian Harris, of course, coming over from the Texans, a bit undersized, and if we know Jeff Ulbrich and what he likes out of his linebacker, his prototypical size in a linebacker is like a 6'4", 6'5"-ish, type avatar, which Harris doesn't possess that. He's more that 6'1" like Perkins. Maybe in some nickel sets, maybe they'll trot out Harris out there. But to say the least, man, I think it's Daniels, depending on what the injury, what the injury says.
I am going to go a different direction. I think it's Harris's job to lose because I view Caden Ellis, right? He wasn't this huge avatar guy, but he played well under Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich, being a former linebacker, can coach up anyone needed, right? Christian Harris played under D'Amico Ryans, also a former linebacker, right? So they can speak the language and get that information to click for him. Ultimately, I think if Harris loses the job, I think it's to Daniels because he's that hybrid athlete that can play big nickel, that can play safety, right? He mentioned in that On the Rise that he played safety, he played Mike, he played Will, and he also played on the line of scrimmage. So he was given the opportunity before he got to the NFL, where most guys transition positions, to get a taste of what that's like. So that's who I'm looking at. I think ultimately the Falcons, if everything goes to their plan and the players develop how they want to, I think Perkins and Daniels are the next 1-2 for us on defense, if I'm being honest with you, because Divine Diablo's on a contract year, and Daniels is like a spitting image of Diablo.
Sure is.
If Daniels doesn't have to see the field this year and just learn, that's not a bad thing either, right? That happened to Brandon Dorless his rookie year.
Yes.
Right? Brandon Dorless took pretty much the whole year off, saw very minimal snaps. And then the next year, it's like everyone in the league was like, whoa, Brandon Dorless, who is this guy? And we all knew he was there. So you could see a similar route here. So don't get too upset if Kendall Daniels and Harold Perkins don't see the field too much other than special teams.
Interesting thing here, right? I say interesting because it just comes to mind. Now, we all know Brandon Dorlus going into his third year. His second year just took the NFL or us Falcons fan by storm. Is there a possibility that Brandon Dorlus becomes that three technique demon for the Falcons, even more so? And I say this, right, because acquiring Mason Smith, bringing him in a bigger body, right? And there's a common theme within this Falcons defensive line, which is length and size, right? With the interior defensive lineman. Obviously, we're getting Zach Harrison back, right? We still don't know what role he's going to play. Now, this is a guy that he's been asked to play the big edge. He's been asked to kick inside. What I'm saying is, with those two guys back, how does that elevate you feel Brandon Doyle's and what he can do in his third year for the Falcons?
It takes the eyes off of him, and then he gets that clear one-on-one that he showed last year. He can win. He can dominate. He can take over. So it really gives the versatility, right? Everyone's underplaying the Falcons' defensive line, right? Oh, they traded away Rook. They only got Mason Smith, who didn't do well in Jacksonville. Yeah, sometimes a change of scenery is better for players, right? We talked about this. Divine Diablo wasn't like the hottest name in free agent. Like, what are we doing? And he became like a staple for our defense, right? Earned that 0 that he wears. So I think he's gonna continue to ascend and maybe earn himself a little bit of money going into his 4th year.
Oh man, money is a thing, and the Falcons will have plenty of it because as the years progress, the cap does grow. We have lesser contract commitments. We have by then we should have been taking care of our guys, right? Bijan Robinson, who's due, Drake London, who's due. We don't know what this season looks like for Kyle Pitts, but potentially he could be in line for an extension or so. But great things nonetheless. And Cody Muse brings up interesting names too. LaCale London, who's also returning to Atlanta, and Deshaun Hand, who he wasn't a game wrecker, but he's a vet that does his job very well, and that's to plug holes or gap penetrate when needed.
So I think this leads to the next segment, Berto. Some surprise cuts, right? Because they're right around the corner where cuts they're going to start to happen, right? And obviously more and more will happen as preseason goes along. If you think about it, our defensive tackle room is a little deep, right?
Sure is.
I think someone in that little rotation could be it. And I don't think it's Zach Harrison, Mason Smith, or Brandon Dorlus. It may be someone like a Deshaun Hand or a LaCale London. Now, both of them signed by Ian, right? But he also drafted Ontario Thompson. Does Ontario Thompson make the roster on a cheaper deal, or does he go to the practice squad? So I don't know. How many defensive tackles did we carry last year? 5, right?
5. Yep, 5. So let's see. I have the Falcons depth chart here. I'm going to share it now, and we can take a quick look at it. So, all right, it says base 3-4 defense. Now, obviously, we're going to run some simulation or a hybrid too. But right now, Deshaun Hand is listed as a starter at the nose tackle spot. Behind him, Mason Smith, Ontario Thomas, and Carlos Allen Jr., who we had on the show 2 weeks ago. So shout out to Carlos Allen. We are definitely rooting for you. But, you see guys like Elijah Garcia, who kicked in a little bit for Atlanta last year. He might be axed, right? Yeah, just by the look of it.
I mean,
it's tough to call right now. But yeah, I see your point with LaCale London and Deshaun Hand, because is Deshaun Hand big enough to play nose tackle? If anything, I would put Mason Smith as the nose tackle. Yeah. If anything.
I would agree. So it'll be interesting to see. I think defensive tackle, finally we have an issue where it's like, who do we actually cut? Big Low asks, and I'll ask you this: would Hughes be considered a surprise cut?
Something, that's a great question.
I know my answer. Let me hear yours.
No, I don't think it would be a surprise. I think this one would be one in the making for most Atlanta Falcon fans. Finally, we cut ties with Mike Hughes, who has been serviceable for Atlanta, but I think emotions are tied to guys like Kobe Bryant and even Avion Terrell, who just made the squad to take over at that opposite side cornerback spot, opposite side AJ Terrell. But for me, overall, it wouldn't be a surprise. I think that room is pretty loaded also.
So it would be a surprise for me only for the fact of his contract number. The
Okay.
Falcons would not actually, the Falcons would lose money to cut him. If anything, he would be a cut candidate next offseason because that's where the money frees up. But as far as depth, I mean, if Avion beats him out, let him beat him out and let him be on the depth, right? Let him be a veteran that can be there as a depth piece. Ooh. Thank you. This is tonight's.
Is this fudge stripe cookies?
Yes. Remember when LeBron, that scene, like, why did
man.
LeBron do that with the goggles?
Yeah. Oh man, is that your go-to?
No, it's my daughter's go-to, but this is my
Okay.
Chips. Listen, nothing beats an OG Chips Ahoy. Okay.
Okay, no, I can't argue that.
Oh well, my wife's homemade cookies. Now we're talking store brand bought cookies
versus by hand.
Right.
I got you. For me, it's pecan cookies, the Keebler ones, man. Those hit. The Sandy's pecan cookies, man. Those are the best, man. I've been called old for liking those cookies, but I don't give a damn.
No.
them things hit, bro.
When you look at corner, who do you really think could get cut?
Natron Brooks, possibility. I know he adds value at the special team. Clark Phillips.
We talked about him quite a bit. We like Clark Phillips.
Love him.
We love Clark Phillips. Clark, if you watch the show, we love you, man.
Love
but
you,
at the end of the day, it's a business. And I don't know. He didn't see the field at all last year under Jeff Ulbrich. Not even when people were hurt. Now, granted, I think he was hurt majority of the year last year. But that kind of speaks, Natron saw time. Kobe saw time. I don't know if Clark is going to be here. I'm good with Kobe being AJ's backup, and then if Avion beats out Mike Hughes, that's a solid backup, and then you carry another one or two corners, right?
Yeah,
as backups. Natron Brooks got experience. CJ Henderson has been a starter in the past, right? He kind of shined in that last game against New Orleans.
Against New Orleans. Yep.
Darnay Holmes, right? We haven't talked about him, but he's more of a nickel
guy. Yep.
Right. So Billy Bowman, Mike Ford Jr. Honestly, Mike Ford Jr. would be carried as a corner only because he's a demon in special teams.
Oh, man.
Right? Darren Hall, hey, welcome back. Let's see you later right away.
Absolutely.
He's not going to see the field even on special teams, I don't think. So we have a good problem, I think.
We do. I think we do too.
Our roster is better than people are giving us credit for. Yeah. Now, you can expect number 40 over there. That's apparently Christian Harris's backup to be gone.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. 100%.
And I do think the Cowboy Troy, I think is on the bubble. I do.
Yeah, he's on the bubble too. And just to go back to the nickelback, as you mentioned, we've heard some rumblings or saw some reports that Sidney Brown is actually trying out or getting some looks at nickel until Billy Bowman gets back. So that's a good problem to have. That's a good problem to have. A lot of us felt like, safety is a stronger suit for him, but he is versatile and he can play in the nickelback. So he could play the nickelback, I should say. So, yeah. How much of a surprise would it be if Braylon Trice doesn't make the roster?
It wouldn't be a whole surprise. He hasn't been able to play the last 2 years. I mean, we need depth, right? But let me see we've got Samson Ebukam, we got Azeez Ojulari, Cam Thomas, even D'Angelo Malone, right? Your best ability is availability, and if
absolutely,
it would stink because he had all this hype coming in, and his season was just cut short. His rookie year, and then the same freaking knee. And I remember the guy that told me about Divine and all that.
Yep.
He was like, hey, Braylon's knee done. He's done for the year. I'm like, no way. I'm not going to believe you on this. And then it came out that he went on IR.
Heartbreaker, man. Heartbreaker. But nonetheless, it was good to see him back on the field. Billy Bowman was also back on the field. Like these guys that suffered these traumatic injuries to end their seasons were back on the field, Michael Penix Jr. included, man. As you look at the roster, right? On defense, we're pretty stacked. We got we got decent depth. Well, we got good depth, right? Depth is everything. This is a team that has struggled with depth in many years, for many years. So I think, the Falcons just have to be wise on who they cut. And I think, veterans like CJ Henderson that have the ability to play on the left or the right side, you hold on to guys like that. So these are guys that for me will be locks to make it. Now we flip dial to the offensive side. We look at the quarterback spot. Obviously, Michael and Tua are locks, but Trevor Siemian and Jack Strand. What say you? What do you go with the undrafted free agent that has the upside, or do you go with the veteran signal caller that's been, that knows what it takes to win NFL games?
I think you go with a guy that you see potential in, because either Michael Penix Jr. or Tua, whoever's the backup, you've got a solid backup, right? And you
True.
always go into the game with an emergency quarterback, right? They're inactive, but they're the emergency if both go down, right? So I think you go in with Strand. You know what Simeon is, right?
Yeah.
If Simeon was going to make the roster, it was going to be the backup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a third string guy. So Jack Strand, I haven't done a deep dive on him. I hear a lot of good things, right, from other film watchers.
Yep.
I would be more willing to take him on. Don't let him hit the practice squad. Don't let someone poach him.
No.
Let him be on the roster. Let him develop. And who knows? Maybe you find yourself a gem.
You might, right? And I think Jack Strand, right? Obviously, he has great size, 6'5". I think he's like 240 pounds, cannon of an arm.
He's the prototypical body archetype that you want for a quarterback.
This is your pocket passer.
Yes.
Jack Strand is your pocket passer, man. And there's this. I think we might have spoke about this in the past, but the quarterback position does these things in waves, right? Where you go for the mobile quarterbacks like we're in now, and then it starts to trend more over to the pocket passer. And now is this Atlanta looking beyond its years and saying, hey, listen, there's something to mold here. There's something to work with here with this Jack Strand kid. Let's give him a shot. Let's give him a shot. And I feel like that was more of a Matt Ryan say than it was a Kevin Stefanski say. And by all reports, Matt Ryan is making an unbelievable impact already on this organization. It's like vibes are up, energy is up. It's good to hear, because I don't think it was that was the case, in prior years with everything going on in Atlanta, man.
Well, like I said, go with the guy with upside. And if Matt Ryan has a say and that's what he's leaning towards, hey, it's a pretty good guy to listen to.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Obviously, the running back room speaks for itself. 2 locks right there, Bijan and Brian Robinson Jr., Tyler Godson, Nathan Carter. I mean, that's going to be the battle.
Give me Nate Carter over Tyler Goodson.
Good change of pace back right there. You got speed and power, obviously, with Bijan. You have raw power with Brian, and then Nathan can offer that Teron Ward change of pace back style right there. I like making comparisons, and that's one for me. So Tyler Goodson, okay, you can go, brother. Look at the
look at what Bone says. I didn't catch this. Did you guys catch Bijan's slip in the press conference and say Callahan was going through run concepts he ran in college? Sounds like
gap scheme. I didn't.
We've been talking about that.
We have
talking about that.
It's
going to be more balanced. It's going to be more balanced. So when people are like, "Oh, the wide zone, it's for Bijan," brother. He was running gap scheme like crazy under Sarkisian. He was running pro style running concepts. So it'll be fun, because think about this, right? Bijan is electric, right? When he goes horizontal, he finds the hole, he navigates, he's able to make a guy miss. Think about gap scheme where he can just go in a straight line. And if it's there and he hesitates just slightly, gone.
His 2 explosive touchdowns last year against the Rams and against the Buffalo Bills, were they not through gaps?
I don't know.
They almost mirrored one another.
I think it was more inside zone than anything.
Inside zone, okay.
But even then, that's closer, right? People confuse inside zone and duo all the time. And why not? Right? I've always said, yes, Bijan on the wide zone is dangerous, just like Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey kills it in gap scheme with Kyle Shanahan. Bijan Robinson would too. That's what gets me so excited. So for everyone that gets down and upset about what the media is, saying Falcons are only going to win 3 games and this, that, and the other, just just let us fly under the radar, right? We don't need to talk smack until the middle of the season when we're, playing for the 2 or 3 seed in the playoffs. So,
that's music to my ears. When's the last time
we're
we
gonna do
played
like
for
this. We're gonna do like this, like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. I love it. Big Low says I think those were inside zone. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting concept, the marriage of the concepts, right? What Bill likes to run versus what Stefanski is known for running in wide zone, the heavy scheme of that aspect. So it's going to be interesting how they mesh those concepts together. It speaks nothing but explosion to me the way you cut it. We have an all-world running back that it would be successful in any scheme they choose to run with, man. Let's see if we have anything else, man. Going through here. Bigelow says, thing about Troy is that he's a coach's dream. Makes you wonder if Ulbricht's ego would come into play with this one. I don't know. I think too much was left desired with Troy after that week 4 Saints game, and we just haven't seen anything yet. We've drafted, for that position specifically with Daniels that can overshadow anything that Troy has done in his short time in the NFL. I think, his college tape speaks for itself, and, dependent on how Ulbricht likes to do with his linebackers, the favoritism should scream Kendall Daniels over what Troy Anderson would have offered, if I'm being correct.
Yeah, I really think this is like Troy's make or break camp. If he just, I don't know, he may just decide to retire instead of getting cut.
Absolutely.
He was on that contract year. He got another chance with us because he missed the entire year. Was never activated. So we'll see. Again, these are players from past regimes. So
right.
You bring up Casey Washington. That's another guy from the previous regime, right? You look at the roster, Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Alameda Zaccheaus. I would say more Zachariah Branch with Alameda swapping out. Vinny Anthony II, be someone I'd take a run out. Chris Blair has been around for a while. Why not put him as Drake's backup? So, yeah, I think Casey is on the chopping block as well. He can't stay healthy either.
No, he can't stay healthy, man. And then the tight end room is loaded, man. Obviously, Kyle Pitts, Austin Hooper, returning Austin Hooper. Charlie Warner, I don't think goes anywhere. It'll be a shock if they let him go. And then Joshua Simon, the talented tight end out of South Carolina. He's listed as 4th. Is there a chance that the Falcons even carry 4 tight ends? Maybe. Because 12 personnel is a thing with
12,
with
13.
Stefanski. Yeah,
you can make Joshua Simon more of an H back, whereas like a fullback. I think Charlie Warner fits that mold too. So you could see a lot of 13, maybe even 14 personnel. Chargers run it a lot. Rams run it a lot. 49ers even run it quite a bit. So I could see them carrying, with Joshua. That's what I wanted, Riley Nowakowski for. Is to be that H-back for. So Joshua Simon, he's got better catchability than Nowakowski. Can he make that transition? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see because Stefanski and Reese like to have a lead blocker, right? Harold Fannin Jr. last year.
Yeah. A kid like Joshua Simon who has untapped potential, but all the potential to do, to make some noise. Who knows? Maybe the scheme here that Stefanski implements might favor him and may give him some looks down the line. Who knows, man, right? So going into the offensive line, is this any of the guys that we cut that are backups? How concerned are you, right? Because at any given point, Matthews, Bergeron, Uziel, we wish them nothing but the best. Lindstrom, Jawan Taylor, if they go down, we're in fucking a world of hurt because the backups don't look as promising. Like Jack Nelson, we saw what he offered last year. He went from the right to the left side. He flopped, now listed as Jake Matthews' backup. Kyle Hinton did play, a few snaps or a couple games when Matthew Bergeron went down. We don't know too much about Corey Levin, but my favorite is James Brockemeyer, the undrafted free agent out of the U. And then Chris Lindstrom, they have Ethan as the backup right now. I'll beg to differ. I think Andrew Stuber would, supersede Ethan. And then Storm Norton fills in as the right tackle. Michael Jarrell, obviously an offensive tackle we acquired in last offseason from the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see. But what troubles you here, if any, on this Falcons offensive line?
It's Jack Nelson. That's another guy I don't know that makes this roster. To be honest with you,
No, fine.
Storm is
Honesty's
that
key.
swing tackle. He's had the surgery. He's had all year to get better, right?
Mhm.
Michael Jarrell, also a swing guy that we traded for. If Jack can't get it under Bill Callahan, I could see him get cut, to be honest with you. But yeah, the depth on the offensive line is a bit of concern. Now, I don't know. Can you tell me a team in the NFL where you're like, man, their backups are solid? Is there one that you would say?
Probably the Eagles, the Chiefs, the top dominant teams, the Chargers. Um,
I would disagree on the Chargers.
okay.
Once Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater went down, Justin Herbert was in hell.
Dude, did you see that video with Rashawn Slater?
What happened?
He did like a kick flip. And his foot touched the ceiling. I'm like, this kid is something else, man.
If I was a fan of the Chargers, I would be.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Brother, you just stop. We need you. But quite honestly, I don't even know that the Eagles have decent depth or the Chiefs. I'm going to disagree with you on that point. I don't think any team, quite honestly, has really good depth like other positions, right? Oh, wide receiver, good backup, right? We have good backup quarterback. We have a good backup running back. Offensive line, I think for all teams is kind of sketch because it's like your starter is your starter for a reason. And if they go down, obviously it's going to take, a step down. So we don't have, I think, the strongest starting right tackle. We don't have the strongest starting center. Left guard can be questionable at times, right? We've seen he can be that guy, but then sometimes he struggles. So overall, I would say we're not as strong on the offensive line as maybe we were a couple of years ago.
So is it safe to say that's a focus the Falcons will have come post June 1st cuts from other teams who they can poach and bring in, right? Because obviously it's loaded right now with with all these other names, right? The Jack Nelsons of the world, Riley's, the Layden Robinson, who we signed from the New England Patriots, Cam Drewberry. I don't even know who Cam Drewberry is, and excuse me for not knowing who that gentleman is, but but definitely, I think it's a focus and an emphasis the Falcons should definitely put into, right? Post June 1st, see what's out there. Maybe somebody from Cleveland gets cut. Somebody that knows, obviously that knows Kevin Stefanski and what Tommy Rees and company like to run, or maybe get a guy that Bill Callahan has coached in the past. Somebody maybe from the Titans, or a team of his past that is still available or will be made available. So I think if it was me, I would have all eyes on the offensive line come post June 1st just to see who's going to be made available for the Falcons to poach.
Yeah, I would agree with you. You never stop trying to improve the offensive and defensive line, even if it's just for backups, right? You need better backups.
Yeah.
Joel, I think Joel Bitonio, didn't he retire?
I believe he did.
Or he was contemplating it? I don't know.
I think he did. I'll get that for you right now. Let me see. Joel. Yeah. He retired on 4/16.
Oh, wow. Yep. Yeah. So Ethan Pochich, right? I think he's on a different team. Like all the Cleveland guys, right? We like to put these connections with coaches where they move and stuff. And sometimes it does work that way, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen in this case.
Yeah. Like even Jedarick Willis, who was a high draft pick for them out of.
Is he even assigned to a team?
I don't think he is. I think he's still available. He took last year off. Let me see.
Wasn't he a cat that they said like, does he care about football?
That's the question. Oh, actually, he's with the Chicago Bears.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he did get he did get signed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that was one question, right? Where his heart is. It's in terms of football, where he's at with that mentality, because a lot of people question his heart, his desire. Absolutely, man. Ah, man. But hey, man, listen, man, we're coming up to the on the end of the show. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed it, man. We spoke about some OTA news that were coming out, the injury to Kendall Daniels, the Avion Terrell guaranteed contract for a second year. I mean, for a second round pick. The discourse of MPJ and Tua. All of these topics. If you go back, if you catch this on a replay, man, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button to Bro Talk at Dirty Bird Central or myself at 95 North Falcons Talk Show. But I think we're gonna end it here, man. So Bro Talk, man, if you have anything you want to chime in or put in, last thoughts, man, to close it out, let us know and let the folks know where they can find you too, man.
So here's my final thoughts, guys. We are going to be scrutinized. We are going to be criticized, and we are going to be overlooked more this year than anything. The media does not like Kevin Stefanski. They viewed him as the problem in Cleveland, right? They don't believe in our quarterback situation, right? Who would? Because you don't know. But even with all the talent, even all the like everything we proved on defense last year, it doesn't matter, right? They still think we're going to win anywhere from 3 to 5 wins, picking in the top 5, top 6, right? Let them fly under the radar. Let those little brothers in Carolina run their mouths. Let the guys in New Orleans run their mouths. They had a glimpse of potentially having a quarterback, right? They draft Jordan Tyson, and now Chris Olave is a top 5 receiver. Let them do all this. And then you heard it here first. Tampa Bay is on the downward spiral. Todd Bowles will be fired after this year, and Faker Mayfield will show his face once again on a contract year and will be out of the division after the season.
You know, I love you, brother. I'm going to tell you this on screen. It would have been great to hear your thoughts last night on the roundtable because they were on and only 2 representatives were on there. Everybody wasn't given a fair shot to speak their truths about the schedule and speak their truths about where the standings actually would be. I know you would have put belt to ass on that segment.
Let me guess. It was our Tampa Bay representative and our Panthers representative.
Ding, 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 ding. What do we got for him, Johnny? A new car. You're right, brother.
Good guys, but biased as all get out.
Oh, man.
Good guys, biased as all get out. I'll make my return there. I had someone, I haven't told you this yet, but I had someone from the roundtable reach out and was like, oh, by the way, we're going to have a show tonight. And I'm like, brother, it's like 30 minutes till. I have kids. I have a wife. I got to coordinate these things. Yeah. Anyways, but besides that, guys, let them run their mouths. You can banter with them. It's easy to rage bait people. If you enjoy rage baiting people on Twitter or any social media platform, by all means, have some fun. But at the end of the day, let them continue to overlook us. And then I agree. I just want an identity and some complimentary football, right? And it's sad to say that I think the last time we had an identity offensively was probably under Arthur Smith, which was we're running the dang football.
Yeah. Mike Smith, too.
Well, Arthur Smith, last head coach.
Yeah, the 2 Smiths obviously had something in common. Run the goddamn football. Oh, wait, hold on. How many wins they give? Oh, I don't know. I didn't tune in, brother. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they said 3 to 5.
Maybe.
They probably both think they're going to sweep. Like, they think the whole division is going to sweep us. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, guys, you can catch me at Dirty Bird Central anywhere you get your short form content, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, right? Talking about OTAs, talking about Jeff Ulbrich in the Accelerator head coaching program. We might be in the search for a new defensive coordinator if we crack top 10 defense. Just saying, it'll be a good thing for Jeff. We may be a little selfish and say, Jeff, don't go, stay here. Anyways, that's where you can catch those long form content still at Dirty Bird Central. I'm waiting to probably start doing that more so for breaking down film. That way you guys can see the whole field. So it'll be interesting to see because once that first preseason game drops, I am going to be doing a deep dive on the offense to see what Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees are implementing. So, and then as always on Twitter at BK2 I'm in that phase of trolling and putting division fans in their place, right?
What an honest guy. I mean, like, bravo, dude. If there's one man to do it, it's the NFL yapper himself.
Exactly.
Bro
That's
talk,
exactly what
baby.
I am. I'm going to rage bait you, and
Oh,
there's
man.
nothing you can say to me that I haven't already heard. Just saying.
Awesome tidbits there. So, of course, your host, your other half of Reporting Eligible, Berto. You can also catch me on 95 North Falcons Talk Show, which I don't really do too much. I just go live. I go live with my guy. We come on as Reporting Eligible, but you can also find me on Bleacher Report, which today we released another video and actually talking about Jeff Ulbrich, as you mentioned, and that accelerator program to become future head coach, which he does have all the talent. I'm going to pluck your brain right quick to see if we're in the same alignment. Who's your replacement? If the Falcons do indeed finish in that middle of the pack, maybe top 10, we finish middle of the pack, ranked 15 in overall defense. But if we inch more towards that top 10 and Ulbrich does become a hot commodity, who are you replacing Ulbrich with?
My first thought when I thought about it yesterday
Yep.
was this.
Yep. Okay. So I agree, but I feel like Nate Ollie will follow Jeff Ulbrich and become a higher assistant, something more, than or maybe he could be his own DC, for a future team. I think the Falcons or Stefanski circle the wagon and they go back to Jim Schwartz. Jim
Where
Schwartz
is
is
he?
he's out of football right now. He's not with any team. And from what I've read, he's taking the year off. Right. And it's not
a
a
bad
bad
thing.
choice. It's not an aggressive play caller like Jeff Ulbrich is, but it would give the Falcons continuity on defense. You leave Jeff Ulbrich, who was, thus far a home run as a DC, and you go to another guy that's been proven in the league, and the track record speaks for itself. So, and obviously too, for me, he would inherit a more talented roster defensive wise than his time with Cleveland. Obviously, we all know he had Myles Garrett,
Yeah.
right? That essentially was Cleveland's defense, but he also had Denzel Ward. Over here in Atlanta, obviously he would have Jalen Walkers, the James Pierce Jr.'s, the Brandon Dorlers, the Avion Terrells, the AJ Terrells, a full slew of guys that he can work with, and I don't know, make more of this Falcons defense than what Ulbrich could have potentially done. But that's available on Bleacher Report. But when this concludes the show, we thank you all for tuning into another episode, 9 p.m. with Reporting Eligible. If you catch this on the replay, please make sure you hit that like button, that share or subscribe button on whoever's platform you are watching from. Again, at Dirty Bird Central or at 95 North. My man's flexing over here. But until then, catch us next week, man. We'll come up with something fun to talk about. Hopefully the Falcons are in the news for something good. But until then, enjoy your week. Happy Memorial Day. Don't go drinking early like Bro Talk did.
Hey!
Thought I could slip that one in. But have fun, man. Be peaceful. Be safe, everybody. Peace.